Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are joining us from today. Welcome to our session to the Bachelor plus Master Management, or the B+MM for short, dual degree. My name is Daria Patrusheva, and I'm the Recruitment and Admissions Manager here at the Robert H. Lee Graduate School within the UBC Sauder School of Business, and this is where the B+MM program is housed. I'm so excited that you're joining us today to listen to this presentation about our very unique program. I hope it will be able to answer your questions and provide some valuable information. Before we begin, I would like to let you know that the session will be recorded and shared on our YouTube channel for future use. Before we start, I would like to acknowledge that the UBC Vancouver Point Grey campus is located on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Musqueam people. I would also like to acknowledge that you are joining us today from many places near and far, and acknowledge the traditional owners and caretakers of those lands. UBC has had a strong connection to the Musqueam people, and we are hoping that throughout your time at UBC, you will learn more about the Musqueam, the history of this land, and honor its original inhabitants. Joining me today is my colleague Jay Greer, who is the Associate Recruiter here at the Robert H. Lee Graduate School, and will be helping to answer your questions. Our colleagues Tamara Shanova and Terling Wong will be manning your Zoom webinar and providing tech support, so thank you so much. And here's our agenda for today. I should also mention that our chat box will not be used for Q&A. So if you have any questions throughout the presentation or during the Q&A period at the very end, please put them in the Q&A box and we'll help answer your questions. So by the end of the dual degree program, in addition to a bachelor, you will graduate with something called Master of Management. But what is it exactly? Essentially, a Master of Management is designed to provide non-business bachelor students with the skills and knowledge to gain a competitive edge in the job market. Today, we'll talk about three things that make our Master of Management stand out and what makes our B+MM Dual Degree unique. With our Master of Management, students have expanded their options, built leadership skills, and have been able to study business without compromising pursuing their passion within the bachelor's degree. Here's a look at the topics that are covered in the Master of Management curriculum. As you can see, your curriculum for the MM portion of the B+MM Dual Degree will be vast. It's a broad spectrum of business and management disciplines. You're going to take courses in finance, marketing, accounting, business development, analytics, and also courses designed to help you think like leaders, such as creativity and entrepreneurship. The first thing to know about our Master of Management program is its breakdown. 6 courses, 6 months. This will help you remember. You will take 6 courses throughout your undergrad from the Master of Management program. And then you will follow up with additional 6 months when you will only do the Master of Management courses after completing your bachelor. These courses will double count, meaning they'll count towards your undergraduate degree and towards your Master of Management. This means there's no overloading of coursework. You're not going to be doing more than the average student or forced to give up any opportunities. Students in the B+MM Dual Degree are still able to do co-op or go on an international exchange. And we encourage you to make the most out of your university experience in all aspects. I should also add that the fastest way to finish a bachelor's degree is 4 years, as you can see here. But you're able to do a 5th or a 6th year. And we do have some B+MM students who choose to take longer than 4 years to graduate from the undergraduate portion of their degree. To help you visualize your academic journey within the dual degree, you can take a look at this timeline. As you can see, in a short amount of time, by adding an additional 6 months to your bachelor's degree, you will be able to graduate with 2 credentials, a bachelor of your choice and a Master of Management. The amount of Master of Management courses you will take per year will vary depending on the year of entry into the B+MM program. Most of you who are here today are probably looking at first-year entry. Therefore, you will start by taking 1 Master of Management course per year during the first 2 years of your undergrad, followed by 2 courses per year in the second half of your undergraduate degree. If any of you are already pursuing your bachelor and are looking at a second or third year entry into B+MM, then you can see in this table that your MM courses will be spread out a bit differently. In either of these scenarios, you will complete a total of 6 master management courses during your bachelor degree and then follow up with 6 months in the master's program. So again, 6 courses in 6 months. And here's the breakdown of tuition fees for the B+MM program, according to your year of entry into this program. The cost of this dual degree is comprised of the total cost of your undergraduate degree, which will vary depending on the program you have selected, and the cost of your master management. The MM fees are broken down here by year of entry. Regardless of whether you enter B+MM in your first, second, or third year of undergrad, you will pay 30% of the MM tuition during the time you're studying in your bachelor's program. After that, when you enter the 6 months remaining portion of your MM, you will pay the remaining 70% of the tuition for the master management program. To give you some idea of the B+MM class profile, it will be quite diverse. For the B+MM dual degree, you will be working with students from all across campus, all from different faculties and with the same international reach. As you can see here, about half of our B+MM students are completing a Bachelor of Arts, which is our largest faculty here on UBC Vancouver campus. And that's followed by science and other faculties. This means that you will get to work with classmates from different backgrounds and collaborate on projects with engineers, scientists, musicians, something that will help you expand your horizons and learn from each other. I should mention that UBC welcomes about 8,000 new students every year, and the B+MM accepts approximately 100 to 120 students. So you'll be a part of the top percentile of our student population with access to unique career services offered only to students who are part of the UBC Sauder School of Business, which I'll talk about in more detail a bit later. So the 3 alumni that we feature on the slide, they exemplify these different journeys. So for example, Angela was able to expand her opportunities in the field. She studied microbiology and immunology in undergrad and combined the management skills taught in the MM program to be a consultant at Bayer Consulting in Germany. Karan is one of our alumni who pursued more schooling, specifically medical school. He currently utilizes the leadership and career training from MM program to stand out during his role as a general surgery resident at UBC Hospital. I often get questions from applicants whether they'll be able to do more advanced graduate degrees following their MM, and the answer is absolutely yes. So some of our MM graduates choose to continue to do their studies in law or medicine, for example, and they're able to get a competitive advantage due to their business and management knowledge gained during the master management program. And of course, last but not least, here is an example of Emily, who studied what she loved without compromising her vision. So she admits that doing a fine arts degree would normally have a bad knack, but she utilized the B+MM to go into the arts industry with a clear focus on the career outcomes. But how did these alumni get to this point? To help you in your career journey, so we do that by basing your program on 3 foundations. Applied hands-on learning in business, mandatory consulting experience, personalized career coaching. I'm going to go over each point in detail to show you how these 3 foundations will work together to give you a competitive advantage in the job market. So first, applied hands-on learning in business. Of course, your university degree will become a permanent part of your personal brand. For most of you, that will be quite important. So studying at UBC, top 40 university, which has seen 180 companies alone come from UBC research, means you will gain a degree with international recognition and stature. And we are a world-renowned business school, no less. We're ranked #1 in Canada for business administration and #1 in America for international outlook. Additionally, our B+MM is the only dual degree of its kind. And of course, our school has seen over 46,000 alumni in more than 90 countries all over the world pass through our doors. And that's a network that you get to tap into when you're a UBC Master of Management alum. A school also has connections with Yale, Harvard, Duke, National University of Singapore, and many other universities around the world. And when you start here at UBC Sauder, you start with a community of really just great top students. Here at Sauder, we always like to say that the classroom is the boardroom, and we build our programs on something that we call flipped classroom or experiential learning. So it's assortment of lectures, case studies, group projects, live debates, and presentations. And in addition to that, you also have access to tech incubators like Hatch, venture accelerators like at UBC, and centers for innovation and impact investing. So we've covered the first point. Now let's go into the second point, which is mandatory consulting experience, which is part of this program. So the mandatory consulting experience you will be doing is called the community-based project. So in groups of 3 to 5, students will be connected with a nonprofit or a social enterprise. These organizations will be your clients and you their consultant. Essentially, this is going to be your playground. So you'll take what you learn in class and you'll use it to do good and to help community partners to solve unique business challenges. And the key to experiential opportunities is that it gives you expertise that you'll take with you for life. And as you can see here, our alumni love the fact that what they do in the classroom is practical and has real life applications for them in their future careers. Now you might be curious what organizations or students have worked with in the past. So here are some examples. As you can see, there's a broad range of social enterprises and profits where students were able to apply the skills they learned in their master management classroom. The projects included developing business and social media plans, recruitment and retention strategies, and developing initiatives for companies like UBC Bachelor, Mosaic, United Way, BC Cancer Foundation, and many others. And of course, some of these might sound familiar to you. The last point to cover is personalized career coaching, and this is why we think that it's critical for you to consider this. It's especially crucial now for students to start off on the right foot. A study by Burning Glass shows that those who start out behind tend to stay behind, which means that underemployment leaves graduates at a disadvantage. So as you can see, numbers show how this is the case. So those starting out underemployed are more likely to stay that way, and workers who are initially underemployed are 5 times more likely to remain so after 5 years in the workforce. 43% of workers in the study were underemployed in their first job, and the cycle kind of became difficult to escape. But on the bright side, graduates with good jobs upon graduation are the opposite in that they earn more and faster than those who are underemployed. In fact, according to a different study by Gallup, they earned at a rate 12 times higher than their peers who took a year or more to find a well-paying job. So this is quite important when it comes to your education and something for you to consider when you're selecting your program. So what we do to help with that, at our Hari B. Varshney Career Center, which is accessible only to students within Sauder School of Business, you will be supported by our specialty master's career team. They will work with you on specific goals. For example, finding the right summer work experience, developing your public speaking confidence, or developing your plan to open a small business. They will also provide you with access to events and resources that will help you in your career goals. And in addition to those things, our career coaches help build your connections with our alumni network and with the business community. And here are some of the services that are available to UBC Sauder students through the Business Career Center. So that's something you'll have access to as a B+MM student. So for example, career coaching and advising. So as a B+MM student, you will have access to one-on-one career coaching through bookable appointments. They're offered both in person and virtually through Zoom with our career coaches here at BCC. These appointments can be on a variety of topics such as career exploration, interview preparation, job application review, job search strategies, negotiating offers and your salary, networking, online presence, LinkedIn, and more. As I previously mentioned while going over the B+MM curriculum, during your bachelor's degree, you will take 6 commerce courses that count towards your bachelor's degree electives and your master of management degree at the same time. So the Business Career Center actually visits these classes every term to provide guest lectures on career development topics, and there are some assignments associated with that. So when you enter the MM portion of your degree, so those last 6 months after your bachelor, there is a dedicated career development class to ensure that you are career ready by the time you complete your program. And at the BCC, we also have a variety of self-assessment tools and career development tools to help you understand more about yourself, tell your story, explore roles, employers, and industries, and really just build your emotional intelligence. There are also 13 career toolkits designed to help you support different aspects of a student's unique career journey. These toolkits are available to students on Cool, which is our online learning platform, on the B+MM Canvas site, and introduced in a commerce class where they align with the career development topics. The BCC is also providing Sauder students with access to the business community. This is achieved by making connections between industry and alumni that work closely with the BCC. The B+MM students are also uniquely positioned in a way that you have access to the alumni network in your bachelor's faculty, so something like Bachelor of Science or Engineering, and then you have access to the alumni community through the Business Career Center and through Sauder School of Business. Additionally, the Business Career Center hosts a variety of workshops, company information sessions, and networking events for students. Many of these events are open to students in the B+MM program. And of course, there are company information sessions. They're one of the best ways for students to network with potential employers. And here at UBC and the Sauder School of Business, there are many mentorship programs available to support students interested in specific career paths. So some examples of mentorship programs that we have: capital markets training, case interview preparation, sales mentorship, finance mentorship, master of management alumni mentorship, and strategy consulting mentorship. The Business Career Center also works closely with employers to post employment opportunities while you are a student and after you graduate, and they support you, for the rest of your life. You have access to their services. So it is really a great resource that's available to the B+MM students. When students enter the Master Management program of their B+MM Dual Degree, so at the end of their undergraduate portion, we survey them to see what industries are most interesting to them or what they're hoping to pursue upon graduation. So this year's class we're studying right now identified these as their preferred industries. So the top 5 are consulting, media and entertainment, healthcare, marketing and advertising, and tech. And we see in this graph that MM dual students have many different preferred industries. This variety, of course, adds richness to the student experience, and this will give you some idea of the diversity of interests that we have in the program. What you might also be interested in is some tangible career outcomes for our graduates. So last year's class, who completed their B+MM program in December 2020, were hired within 3 months of program completion, and the students accepted an average base salary of $51,799. So it's a great outcome for recent graduates. Again, looking at the class of 2021, we can see what industries these students were hired into. The top 3 industries were tech, healthcare, pharmacy and biotech, and financial services. We can also see in this graph that there is a variety of different industries that our graduates pursue, such as nonprofits and education, HR, and working for local municipalities, for example. And because you may also be interested in some examples of the companies where graduates ended up, after their B+MM Dual Degree. Here you can see that there's a broad range of local and international companies that recognize the value of this degree. So some names might be familiar, like Amazon, Ernst & Young, HSBC, and others. So by now, listening to this information, you might be wondering, this is all great, but how do I get into the B+MM Dual Degree? So there are 3 steps involved in the process. And I will go over this, each step of the journey in detail, but I should mention that for those of you who are applying to UBC from high school, or if you're transferring to UBC from another post-secondary institution, there are 2 applications involved. So it is best not to leave this until the very last moment, as this might need some preparation on your part. So firstly, what you need to do is you need to ensure that you are applying to eligible non-business bachelor program at UBC. This will determine the non-business bachelor's degree you will pair up with the Master of Management. Here you can see the list of programs that are eligible for the B+MM Dual Degree. Please note that Bachelor of Commerce is not on the list, but if you are selecting it as one of your 2 choices on the undergraduate application, you're still able to select one of these eligible programs and be considered for the B+MM program as well. You can make your selection on the Education Planner BC application that you are submitting to the undergraduate admissions office. The first application you need to submit is the one that I just mentioned on EPBC. And I usually tell students to look under our undergraduate admissions website, which is sauder.ubc.ca. And then you click on the red button in the upper right-hand corner that says Apply to UBC. And this will redirect you to Education Planner BC when you can apply for a bachelor's degree. I should also mention that because this application process is managed by the undergraduate admissions office, you will need to contact them should you have any questions about your undergraduate application, as this process is quite opaque to us here at the Sauder's Graduate Business School. And your final step in this process of applying to B+MM is to submit an application to the B+MM Dual Degree program, which is separate from Education Planner BC. So you can find this application on our website, sauder.ubc.ca/BMM. Our application is quite simple. We ask for personal information and then a 90-second video. You will record this on your own time and then upload it to a video sharing site. And it is your decision if you want to password protect it. You can include the password in your application. You can make the video unlisted and make it private. And some applicants choose to make it public on video sharing sites. So that is your decision. The video is nothing to be worried about because you will film it on your own time, so it's not recorded live. Some tips that I like to pass on to our applicants. For the B+MM Dual Degree, we don't see your personal profile that you submit to the undergraduate office. So it's important that you try to highlight anything that you think might be important, that might set you apart, brings out your personality, or anything essentially that you want us to know about yourself. And next, be professional. So you're applying to business school and treat this process as an interview. Communicate clearly in your video and answer the question and stick to the time limit of 90 seconds. You might want to have somebody like a friend or a family member give you feedback on your video because you have multiple attempts at recording it. You can really, try to do it as many times until you're happy with the result and then upload it. So again, it's not recorded live, so you don't need to worry about that. And another thing that we get questions about is, while we appreciate creativity in your video editing, it is by no means a requirement. And we do not expect that you have advanced video skills or you put on a Oscar-worthy performance. We're simply looking to get to know who you are and about you. So hopefully this gives you some idea about what is involved in the application process. In terms of the deadlines, we have now passed our first deadline for first year entry which was on December 1st. That would be the deadline for applicants applying from high school to UBC for their undergraduate program and for B+MM. However, the good news is that our second and final deadline is coming up on January 15th. So for those of you who are applying to UBC from high school, or if you're transferring from another post-secondary institution, please note that your deadline to apply to the undergraduate program on EPBC is also January 15th. So it is coming up next week. For those of you who are applying for second or third year entry, meaning that you're currently already in first or second year of your undergraduate degree at UBC this year, you have two upcoming deadlines. The first one is on January 15th, and the second is on May 4th. However, please note that admission to our B+MM program is competitive and space is limited. Therefore, we recommend applying as early as possible. So this concludes the presentation part of our event today. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. Please type them in the Q&A box, so not the general chat box, but the Q&A. And if you have any questions or you'd like to get in touch, please feel free to email me, so daria.patrashova@sauder.ubc.ca or bmm@sauder.ubc.ca. And of course, if you have any more specific or personal questions that you don't want to make public, that is totally fine. Feel free to email us directly and we'll connect with you and we can definitely discuss that as well. So I see that we have some questions in the Q&A. So let's see here. Okay, so the first question is for clarification, the 30% of the master's fee is due only once during the undergraduate period, regardless of the number of years involved to complete B+MM. Yes, that is correct. So what's going to happen is your 30% is spread out between the years that you take to complete your bachelor. So for most people, it is 4 years, but of course, some will take 5 or 6, especially if you chose to do an experience such as co-op. So you're working full time, so you might take some time essentially out of your academic terms and work, and so that will prolong your graduation. So yes, in this case, you only pay 30% of the master management. The remaining portion, 70%, is charged when you enter the last 6 months, and you're only studying master management courses at that point. So hopefully that makes it clear. So if you wanted to change your choice, but you have already submitted the 2 choices, I understand that this is referring to your EPBC application to the undergraduate admissions office. So as I mentioned, we don't have access to that here at the Robert H. Lee Graduate School in Sauder. So you would need to probably direct this question to the undergraduate admissions office. So you can email them or you can give them a call and see if it's still possible. Hopefully they'll be able to help you with this. So another question from Tony, so thank you for this question. Will the B+MM be able to see my activity list, or do I have to highlight that in my video as well? So if I understand your question correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you're asking the activity list that's on your personal profile on your undergraduate application. And if that is so, then no, we're not going to see that list. So I know 90 seconds seems like quite a short period of time. But be concise and highlight something that is the most important. So you don't need to list everything you've ever done, but make sure that you answer the question and that you really highlight things that set you apart, essentially. But by no means do we look at your full curriculum or extracurricular activities that you've ever done. That's not the intention of our application. So don't worry about doing that. But let's see if there is. So here's another great question. How flexible is UBC in terms of allowing undergraduates to change the degree that they are studying after being accepted? So that is, again, a great question for the undergraduate admissions office. So we are a graduate school within our Sauder School of Business. So we, we don't control what happens with your undergraduate degree, what happens with that application. So from experience of other students, I can tell you that yes, there is a transfer process that you can go through. If you are in one faculty and you decided to change it to another, but that is not something that's done through our office, and I would advise to follow up with undergraduate admissions or enrollment services directly for this. So for the BDES program, so the program we have for the Bachelor of, I believe it's the Bachelor of Design. So the only programs that are eligible for B+MM are the ones that we had listed. So I'm going to try to go back to the slide where we had the list of eligible programs, so then you can see which programs will qualify. So if the program is not on the list, it means we do not have a partnership under the B+MM agreement with that faculty or that specific program. So if the program is not on the list, unfortunately, it's not part of the B+MM. But as I mentioned, you have two choices on your undergraduate application, and if you're selecting something like Bachelor of Commerce or Bachelor of International Economics, something that's not compatible with B+MM, you can still select a second choice and apply to the B+MM program, and then you can decide what you're going to be pursuing.
Daria, we have two participants who have raised their hands.
Okay, great. So if we could just get through the questions in the chat first, because I believe that those people have asked their question first, and then hopefully we can get to your questions as well. So the next question by an anonymous attendee is, if I submitted my UBC application on December 1st, but not my BMF video yet, will I still be considered early? So I think you're asking for the first round of offers for undergraduate admission. And so for us, you had to apply for our first deadline by December 1st, but we still have it open. So if you applied on EPBC by December 1st, you can double check with undergraduate office if they're considering you for first round of offers and when those will be coming out. So again, we're not part of that process, but on our end, we are considering you for our second deadline, which is our final deadline on January 15th. And then of course, we'll coordinate the process of giving you a decision. Is there a reference letter needed for first-year applicants? No, you do not need to submit a reference letter to us. We do not require it. So deadline for video submission on December 1st or January 15th. So we have two deadlines for applicants applying from high school. So they are able to apply by either of these deadlines. So December 1st was the first one, January 15th. So it's still, you still have to do a video. So it's still on our website, sauder.ubc.ca/BMM, and you will be submitting your video there as part of our application, but January 15th is the deadline. So if you're applying for something else for undergraduate admissions that requires a video, that is possible. It depends on the program that you selected, but again, it's not part of our process, so you need to double check with that program what their deadlines are. But for us, there's two deadlines. There's December 1st and there's January 15th for applicants applying directly from high school. And you still have the opportunity to do that for another 10 days. So there's some questions about recommendation letters. So again, we don't require that for the B+MM program, but it is possible that another program you apply to might require something like that. So again, please double check with them directly. So does the January 15th deadline apply to just undergraduate program or both the undergraduate and B+MM? So it applies to both. So if you're applying directly from high school, your last date to apply is January 15th. So as I mentioned earlier, please try to apply in advance of the deadline, especially because there is a video involved that you need to film, and it might take you some time, it might take you multiple attempts. So don't leave it until the last minute. But that is the deadline. That is the final deadline for high school applicants. Transfer applicants who are entering to second or third year, so they likely have already completed at least 1 year of undergrad. They have an additional deadline on May 4th. But if you're applying from high school, January 15th is absolutely last date to do so. For the 90-second video, is it similar to the one you need to record for the Bachelor's of Commerce application? So it is different. And if I am correct, and don't quote me on this, for BCom, you might have to do it live, but that's again something you need to double check with them as part of the undergraduate application. So we're not part of this process. The one that we have here at the Graduate Business School, it's not live and you pre-record it, but it is a different video. It's not part of the BCom admission process. If so for those applicants who rejected from the B+MM program, will their first or second choice bachelor's be considered? Yes, absolutely. So if you are not accepted to the B+MM Dual Degree, you still have the opportunity to get admitted to the bachelor choice that you put. So don't take that as a rejection from your whole application to UBC, including the undergrad. We are still considering you for undergraduate portion, but just not for the B+MM in this case. Okay, so if somebody is at another post-secondary institution, so I'm imagining this is from a transfer applicant question from Barry, thank you. So a marketing course deemed by the BC Transfer Guide is equivalent to COM 291. Would it be considered equivalent? So we don't do transfer credit evaluation as part of our application, so that's not something that I'll be able to answer. But if you're transferring to UBC and you're wondering how the course that you've taken at another institution has been or will be evaluated and considered when you come to UBC, that is a great question for enrollment services. So they can answer questions about transfer credits. So please reach out to them and they'll be able to help with that. So for the B+MM, you don't need to upload your transcript because it's tied to your undergraduate application in the sense that we'll get you grade information that the undergraduate office already has. We actually get that from them, so you don't need to submit anything. So as I mentioned, the only things that we ask for is your personal information, so you know your name and things like that, and then we'll ask for the video. But that's all you need to submit for B+MM. So that's really the benefit of that application. It's quite straightforward. Okay, this is a great question from Abdallah. What has been a pattern with successful B+MM students in the past? Is there something between all of them that can be tied to succeeding in the B+MM program? Thank you for that question. So I wouldn't say that there's a pattern because, as you probably saw, we have a very diverse student population in a lot of senses. You know, they come from different places and they study in different faculties, and that's really the benefits of this program, because you get this kind of unifying business knowledge and foundation that you may not be able to get in other degrees, but at the same time you have all of this kind of background that is quite unique to you in your studies, in your academic journey, personal journey. So you know, we do see some patterns when I was talking about employment, like what are the interests, and those change actually. So with different things that happen in the industry, different things that happen in the world, like the trends that we're seeing, the interests we're seeing from our students, and what careers they're pursuing, and those change. But right now, because of COVID, there's a lot of interest in tech, and there's a lot of move online. And of course, some people prefer remote work, so they're looking for those types of positions. So the good thing is that there's a lot of flexibility, but we do try to identify trends of what our B+MM students are looking for and where they're getting employed, but there's not necessarily, a recipe for a successful applicant, because we look for different applicants who bring different things to the program. So hopefully that answers your question. So somebody asked if you get into B+MM but not the UBC degree. So I understand that you're asking about the undergraduate portion. So in this case, your offer to B+MM is kind of tied to your offer to the undergraduate program at UBC. So it is possible to not get accepted to B+MM, but still get accepted to the bachelor's. But you can't get accepted to the dual degree if you're not accepted to the bachelor's program. So hopefully that makes sense. Is there any requirements or experience needed to be accepted to B+MM? So there's no specific experience. We understand that a lot of our applicants are applicants coming from high school, so there's no work requirement or component or anything like that for your application. And really, if you're going to compare what requirements we have for our other graduate programs, so we do have a standalone master management, master business administration, and other programs. Like there is a lot of other components that you would need to do, but we don't require anything specific aside from what I mentioned on the application. So your personal information and the 90-second video. So there's no other requirement. So somebody asked if I'm accepted to 2 degrees at UBC, so the 2 choices that you have applied for, and one of them is not of the ones that's eligible for B+MM, and the other one is, can I choose which degree I would like to enroll in? So if you got both offers to first and second choice, you can definitely make your decision, but be mindful that, let's say, for example, you're accepted to Bachelor of Commerce and Bachelor of Arts and B+MM as part of that. So you won't be able to combine your Bachelor of Commerce with the B+MM. But if you chose the Bachelor of Arts as the degree you will be pursuing at UBC, then yes, you will be able to be in the B+MM program. So for the grades, we really, like I said, we go by the information that the undergraduate admissions office calculates and provides us with. So they will be determining, the requirement is, of course, that you're eligible to be admitted to the undergraduate program of your choice, and that program has to be eligible for B+MM. So, if you're applying to Bachelor of Science, then we need to be competitive. You need to be eligible to be admitted to that program. So hopefully that makes sense. Yes, so you would need to be on the Vancouver campus because you would be attending our courses here at the Sauder School of Business, and we are located at the Point Grey campus in Vancouver. So it's not part of the Okanagan programs for that reason. Okay, so Alfonso asked, do you get to see the references we included in undergraduate application? If so, do you get to read what they wrote about us? No, we don't see that. We don't have access to that information, so we don't ask for references. So somebody asked if you're receiving your undergraduate decision and the B+MM admission decision separately or at the same time. So I believe usually we try to coordinate so you get the decision at the same time, because we would like to let you know exactly which program you're being admitted to. So I'm just trying to see, so the question was, if you have applied to 2 eligible bachelor programs and checked off B+MM, will B+MM application be acceptable to either of the bachelor programs or just your first choice? So if you're not admitted to your first choice and you're admitted to the second one, right? I believe that's the question. So in this case, I would say, follow up with us. We can take a look at your particular situation because I'm not too sure what would happen in that case. But if you're, accepted to both programs that you've applied to and you want to pursue B+MM, but we want to go with the second choice and it is eligible, then that shouldn't be an issue. So the Okanagan question, yes, so if you apply to the Bachelor of Science at Okanagan, do you need to reapply to Vancouver for eligibility? So I would maybe see if you are interested in changing your choice from Bachelor of Science at Okanagan to Bachelor of Science at Vancouver, The Vancouver one would be eligible for B+MM. So connect with the undergraduate office to see if it's possible for you to change your selection on your application. So another question was, if we get accepted into both full UBC, let us pick which one or if you only can pick your first choice. So I believe that you should be able to pick which program. So obviously for undergraduate portion, if you ask to be evaluated for both and you're accepted, you're accepted to choice 1 and choice 2, you can of course make your decision then, but you have both offers essentially, so yes, you can choose for sure. Can master management graduates later do an MBA for specialization? So great question. So Master Business Administration is not specialization, it is a degree, it's a graduate degree. It is usually intended for mid-career professionals, so you're not really going to be doing that at the same time as a Master Management. So that's something that you would kind of choose to do later on, and if you do and you submit a competitive application, then perhaps, but for the purposes of our event today, we're talking about the bachelor class Master Management and the Master Management component of that. So what you do kind of following that is your decision, but you, as you've seen, like we've had some alumni who pursued other advanced degrees in the past, wasn't specifically MBA, but they chose to do med school, law school, and things like that. So potentially, yes. Okay, let's see if we have more questions. Thank you, by the way, for these questions. These are all excellent questions. So someone asked if what is the acceptance rate? So we don't disclose the acceptance rate, but what I can say is that we accept between 100 to 120 students. So it is competitive admission to the B+MM program for sure. If you miss the deadline for first year entry, can you do second year entry? So yes, you can definitely apply for second year. You would obviously have to wait later. There was a slide where I went over your curriculum essentially will look a bit different in the B+MM because you will need to complete the 6 courses from the Master Management within the 3 years of your undergrad, because now you're already 1 year in, you're entering in the second year. But yes, it's absolutely possible, and our students have done that. So somebody asked comparing applications for the B+MM Dual Degree and Master Management. So great question. Yes, if you're applying to the Master Management, so likely you're somebody who has a bachelor degree already, then yes, we do require references, but for B+MM, there's no references required. So right now we have over 600 students in the B+MM program, and for 100 and 120, we're really looking at the first year intake. So a lot of information I'm giving you today is, it's intended for first year applicants who are coming from high school directly into UBC, and they're entering B+MM right away. But I do recognize that some of you might be here today and you're a transfer student, or you're just wondering, what if you decide to apply to this program kind of later on in your bachelor? So we do have some spaces available, but of course, we won't have as much space as in the very beginning. So if you're interested in this program, you might want to consider applying for first year entry. Are all Bachelor of Science degrees eligible to be paired with the Master Management? So I believe, I'm not aware of any exclusions or anything like that, but the Bachelor of Science itself is one of the degrees that we offer. But I think if you wonder about what major you're going to be pursuing, that's something that you will decide after your first year in science. So you will be declaring that down the road, and by then you're already kind of 1 year into your B+MM degree as well. Yeah, you should be able to do that. and that should not be an issue regardless of which major you're pursuing. Okay, so somebody asked a great question. How many times is an applicant allowed to apply to the program? I mean, if you're not successful in your application your first year, you're welcome to reapply in one of the following years to B+MM for sure. And we do welcome your application. We're not going to be preventing you from applying. Maybe you'll be able to present a stronger application at that point. Because for second, third year entry, we do look at your university grades at that point. So you might demonstrate different academic results. And if you have had some different experiences and you answer your interview video question differently, then your application might be successful at that point. So if that's what you're wondering about, then yes, you can definitely reapply there. Okay, so another question is the 90-second video the only supplemental application for the master management for first year entry? Yes, so essentially, yes, it's a very straightforward application. There isn't anything else you need to do. There isn't anything you need to write or anything like that. So it's quite straightforward, and that's really the only thing you need to prepare. So question about scholarships and financial aid. So for your scholarships for your B+MM program, you are considered through the undergraduate office. Please connect with them if you have any questions about scholarship. They're in the enrollment services, they're also able to answer your questions about financial aid. So any type of bursary or any other question you have, they'll be able to assist you with that. So that's something that they advise on. So somebody was asking about grades versus personal profile. So again, we don't have access to your personal profile. So if you're wondering how your personal profile plays a role in your overall admission to UBC, that's again a question for the undergrad office in the undergraduate admissions, and they'll be able to let you know a little bit more about it. But that we don't see it here, we don't have access to it, and we don't read it, we don't consider it for your application to B+MM. So question about the 90-second video. So for the admissions officers, you probably mean on our end, the Robert H. Lee Graduate School. So yes, so that's the only part of your application in addition to your grades that the undergraduate admissions office does share with us. So we do see your academic information, we do consider it for admission, but that's the only part of your application. So for the Bachelor's of Economics, so that's under the Faculty of Arts. So you should be able to do an arts degree, a BA degree, but you won't be able to do a Bachelor of International Economics, the BIE program, if you're applying to that one. It is not part of the B+MM Dual Degree program because the overlap between two programs it just does not make sense to complete the dual degree for that particular bachelor's. Yes, so for the graduate scholarship, so we do not offer graduate scholarships for the B+MM Dual Degree. We do offer them for our kind of standalone graduate programs. For the undergraduate scholarships is kind of what you're going to be considered for B+MM. And what is the email for undergraduate admissions? It's admissions.inquiry@ubc.ca, and you're able to Google it as well on the website and look up their contact as well. So we're coming up to the end of our event today. So thank you so much for your questions. Thank you for attending. We hope that we will see your applications here at the Robert H. Lee Graduate School. Please don't forget that the deadline is coming up on January 15th. And if you have more questions, please reach out to us. I'll put our contact again for our inbox. And yes, we hope to hear from you soon.